So now you have to divide these and stuff. 0.5. So 5 divided by 0.5 is what? This divided by this is what?
All right, pencils are down in 2, back row, 1. And 0. We're gonna try. Wake up. Here we go, scoot your chairs all the way up and sit up nice and tall. So the very first step we're gonna go over is that it says calculate the volume, and then it has a list of questions. So here's the diagram, right? If we convert them all to decimals, we'll have 0.5 here. What am I going to have here?
0.5.
Good, and what about here? 0.25. I think that's where some people got mixed up. So you were doing the process right, but your decimals were wrong. So then the first question says, how many 1/2 inch cubes can fit in there? So our next step is to do what operation, everybody? Everybody. Yeah, to divide. So 0.5 divided by 0.5 is what?
1.
Good, so that's where we got the 1 from. So if this is 1, the width will also be
1.
Good. And then 1/4 divided by 0.5 is what?
0.5.
Good. So now we've got 1, 1, and 0.5. To find the to find out how many cubes fit in, you multiply 1 times 0.5 to give you what, everyone? 0.5 what? Cubes. Just cubes. We're looking for cubes right now. How would we find, make sure your pencils are down in 2, 1, and 0. I'm waiting on 4 sets of eyes. Deline. How would we find the volume of the tiny cube? Julius, I need your eyes, please. Good job, Angel. How would we find the volume of the tiny cube? Blessin? Make sure you're all tracking Blessin.
We would have to divide it by 5. So it says 1/2 inch cube equals 0.5.
So we're not going to divide it by 0.5. So we're looking for the volume of the tiny cube. Ollie?
0.5 divided by, times 0.5 times 0.5.
Good. How do you know that? How do we know this, Samicha? How do we know that that's right? We're going to multiply 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. You should be thinking right now. You should be thinking. What do you think, Samicha? Go ahead and try it, even if you're not right. How do we find the volume of something? Samicha?
We have to multiply all the sides.
A little bit louder. Can't hear you.
We have to multiply all the sides.
We multiply all the sides? How do you know that? Be more specific using academic vocabulary. If someone came in and said, Samicha, how do we find the volume? You'd say, we multiply all the sides? I wouldn't know what to do. So how would you explain it? Send her some love. She's got this.
Dividing by divide.
Nope, we're not going to divide. You said it right. Who wants to help her out? Okay, go ahead. Try again. To find the volume.
To find the volume, we have to multiply by the height.
Nope, not quite. So what you said was, to find the volume, you have to multiply the length and the height. What do you have to do to find the volume?
Length times width times height.
Excellent. Let's give her 2 claps on 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now, Ollie, explain to us how we're going to find the volume of that cube.
Well, we just do 1 times 1 times. What?
Send Ollie some love.
Do you mean the 1 cube or the?
Yes, the tiny cube.
0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5.
I know this because.
I know this because.
Send him some love, Abby.
Equation, length times width times height.
Excellent. Let's give him a woo woo. on 2, loud and proud. 1, 2, woo, woo. We're gonna try that again. Get your hands ready. Ollie did such a good job, and then so did Samicha too. So this is actually for both of them, not just one. Get your arms ready. It needs to be really loud. Axel, waiting on you. Thank you. 1, 2, woo, woo. That was much better. So on your paper, you need to have volume equals 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. Go ahead and do that in your calculator now. Lily? No. Oh, yeah. No. This is tiny cute. All right, what do we get, everybody? 0. What? 1, 2, 5. All right, go ahead and turn the page. Are there any questions? So these two problems here, round 2 and 3, are independent work. So I'm going to give you 4.5 minutes to do that. Capiche? Okay, get started.